Dial N for Nerder is definitely an interesting episode of The Simpsons. I don't know if I loved it, but at the same time, I think it's pretty well written. This is the 14th episode of the 19th season, directed by Mike B. Anderson, Mark Kirkland, and Bob Anderson. And in this one, Bart pulls what seems like quite a straightforward prank, and it ends up with Martin falling off of this cliff. And these thoughts of Martin's death keep plaguing Bart and Lisa. And I will say it's quite nice to see them working in unison because they're both going through this together, which is quite nice to see, although unfortunate that it was at Martin's expense. And Nelson suspects that something's a little bit odd with the way Bart's behaving, and Nelson does some investigating, and it's quite nice to see Nelson in this different role as well, using his brain instead of his fists, which was again another thing that I really enjoyed about it. It's also nice. Bart even mentions at one point he did this terrible thing and he doesn't feel good about it, and I think it's a really nice way to show, a really entertaining way, I guess, to show that pranks actually might go wrong and they might make you feel horrible. What I like about this is how unpredictable it is. There are certain things that happen with, for example, what Bart does and things Lisa says, things that I just definitely didn't expect. And I really thoroughly enjoyed that part of the narrative. I thought it played out really well, and I definitely had a lot of fun with that. We also have a subplot involving Homer. He becomes addicted to bell peppers, it seems, because Marge puts him on this new healthy diet. But Marge suspects Homer's cheating on her, or cheating on the diet, with junk food. So she hires somebody to investigate it, and I love how that part of the narrative concluded. I won't give any spoilers. I feel like the actual progression of that part of the narrative was a bit boring. It made me hungry, but it was a little bit dull. But ultimately, it was worth it. So I quite like this episode. I do think it was a very well written episode, and one that I didn't really predict how it would play out. And I like that. I like it when there are things that are quite surprising and things that I hadn't expected. So definitely a very interesting episode. As I said, I don't think I loved it. There were bits that I really liked, but there were some bits that I thought were a bit bland. But generally, I think Dial N for Nerder took me by surprise, and I wouldn't mind watching it again. It wouldn't be my first choice of an episode, but it's not too bad.